What are hymns? And why is it worth singing them as a church? Aron and I have been on a journey of rediscovering, refreshing, and sometimes reinventing some epic old hymns so that we could sing them together as a church. We've tried doing this with several amazing old hymns that have fallen by the wayside. And each week, we'll pick one, discuss it, and sing our take on it. We'll also be taking a close look at the hymn writer of old who originally wrote the hymn. You're listening to Hymnology 101. We hope you enjoy. It's Hymnology 101. Welcome. You're listening to me, Sam, and everyone's favourite historian,
Aron. Don't say that. That's just...
You're definitely in my top 3 historians.
Okay.
So,
Wow. You don't know many
no, I do.
good historians. Who's number 1 and 2 then? No. My third.
Andrew Marr.
Andrew Marr.
Is he a historian? No, that's rubbish. He does like a news program.
Oh yeah, he's more of a journalist.
A journalist, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that shows I know no historians. The fact that I've said Andrew Marr, and I don't even like him really. I find him quite funny.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm second then. Oh, was he like first? I'm second.
Yeah, I suppose you know when a parent has just one child and they say you're my favourite child. I feel a bit like that towards you in terms of historians.
Hey, what about Alicia Joy Davis, Matt Davies?
Yeah, okay. Oh, I forgot that. I know people who've done history.
Are historians.
Yeah, that's true.
They've got degrees and...
Yeah, that's why you're in the top 3, but it's probably because of Alicia and Matt who've stuck in.
You're leaving out Sinead there, Oh,
Sinead didn't do history, did she?
She did history. You left Sinead out. I can't believe that.
I thought she did.
Sam,
she went to the London School. I'm not sorry. No, I'm not. She went to the London School of Economics. Was that a master's?
Before that, she did history at Swansea and was saved in Pleasant Baptist Church.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's cool, isn't it? That's a bit of history for you, right there. I did modern history at A-level for 3 weeks, and then we got set an essay, and I thought, you know what, I can't be bothered with this. And that was me done with history.
I remember actually having a chat to you in the car in second year, and I was trying to tell you about hymns and the importance of like history and how we see the world. And you were like,
I think that's the end of Hymnology 101 for today.
You were like, nah.
Yeah.
And I was like a little bit offended.
So this was the degree you chosen to take.
Yeah.
And I just basically went, nah. Well, no, what I genuinely used to think was, when I was 18, by the way, so we're going back 9 years, that was then, this is now.
Yeah. That's history.
This is, yeah. Yes, that's been and gone.
That's the old stuff.
Brilliant. Were
you Christian back then? Or?
Yeah. Yes, I was. But as the intro to this podcast says, we've been on a journey. I suppose I've been on the journey. I've been on a voyage. You've just gone for a little stroll. That's the difference, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know what? I have a hymn tidbit, but it's from Alan Partridge.
Does that count?
No, not really. But I do have a little... You do yours. Right, you do a proper one, and I'll tell you something I watched the other day.
Okay, cool. Go. Yeah, so this week, I thought we could kind of link it into last week's tidbit. So last week we looked at what they used to sing during the Reformation. And we discovered that they sang Simeon's song at the end. And some Lutherans and some churches still do sing that. But they also used to sing the Apostles' Creed, the Ten Commandments, and the Lord's Prayer.
Sing it, not just chant it or say it. Or...
They would say it and chant it, and sometimes the minister in Lutheran churches would sing. They
still do that, do they?
They would sing to the congregation everything. They'd sing everything. Yeah.
Goodness me.
So Luther wrote tunes to the Apostles' Creed and Ten Commandments.
He wrote music, not just words.
Yeah, he was very musical. Yeah, wow. He was into his music.
What a ledge!
Yeah.
I suppose is the feeling like, why just say it when you can sing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know I might be wrong here, but it came from, I don't know, just a higher view of music, and how, music is spiritual.
Yeah.
And so, you can sing.
Well,
Yeah,
mate,
about everything.
We've just done, at the time of recording this, we've just had RBT sharing from Deuteronomy. Right. Aaron, did you see at the end of Deuteronomy that Jesus, the Lord Jesus of the Old Testament, pre-incarnate
Christ, yeah.
who talks to Moses face to face, writes a song and says, now teach this song to the church.
Teach this song to the church so that they remember it and
As
know
a
who they
witness.
are as a witness.
Yeah. To me against them. That's what he actually says.
Wow.
And then, so I think Jesus has written this song.
He's written it.
Now, we know, this is the thing, I was thinking about this quite a lot yesterday. Like, Psalm 45, we've had teaching on this in our church. It's been great through Hebrews. The Father writes a song for the Son.
Yeah.
And that's Psalm 45.
Psalm 45, yeah.
Jesus here, he's written a song, and he's like, teach it to the church to sing. He gives Moses a song. That's mad, isn't it? They love songwriting.
Yeah.
And then it's got a whole chapter devoted to this song of Moses.
Yeah.
Hasn't it?
Yeah, it's
Chapter 32 in Deuteronomy.
It's really cool. Yeah.
There we go. Sorry.
There you go. Two
Interrupted
tidbits on this. The third from Alan Partridge.
Alan Partridge. Oh my gosh. Right. Okay. Step aside, Luther and Jesus himself. Alan Partridge. Oh
Are
gosh.
you serious going to bring Alan Partridge into this?
Yeah, I am. So basically, his latest series is called This Time, and it's a sort of parody of The One Show, and he's a presenter on it. And you know how they do like these sort of like, oh, we went to so-and-so to meet some people, and this is what we found, So they do a thing where he goes to visit some monks, and he says, is there something in the life of silence? Because they just don't talk. But then he talks to this one monk, this spokesperson, and I needed to get the quote really, but Alan says, of course some Christians choose to express their faith, not through silence, but they sing hymns and bash on a tambourine, and in all the confusion, you actually begin to believe in God. Which I just thought was hilarious. He's so out of touch, like all these young people singing hymns. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on in churches.
Soul Survivor.
Yeah. All hymns. In the confusion, you actually start to believe in God, which I thought was a great line.
The chaos of him singing.
But, of course, singing together does create... The word of God creates faith. So when you sing about Jesus, it's funny, isn't it? It's like, I thought that's quite an insightful thing to say. In all the confusion.
There is something happening, isn't there? Like when we...
Of course there is,
admonish one another through song, isn't it? Lifting our eyes to Jesus, and something's happening there.
100%. Yeah. It's a means through which obviously God wants to speak to us, help us, give us grace and peace. Right. Tidbits done. That was 3.
Wow. We've got a cap it for next week.
Yeah, I know. Should have saved them. Anyway, it's fine. This week, Aron, who is the hymn writer we're looking at, and then what's the song we'll sing at the end? Because we are going to sing once more at the end.
So this week it's Samuel Medley. He was born in 1738.
And the song we're going to sing is I Know That My Redeemer Lives.
Yes.
You'll see that from the episode title.
I Know That My Redeemer Lives. He was born in 1738 and he died in 1799.
It's all a similar... We love the 1700s. That's what I'm sensing.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of hymns are like from the 1800s, I feel. You got your Wesleys and stuff, but we've been like, nah, mate, that's too obvious.
Wesley's the 1700s.
Was he? All right. Well, that shows see history. I'm like, that was back then. I didn't even know what's going on back then.
It's all the same.
It's all just one big blur. Old people blur.
No,
anyway,
both Wesleys were 1700s as well.
1700s.
Yeah, they were friends with Whitfield, who obviously, from the last podcast.
There was a lot of songwriting in the 1700s then.
Yeah.
And it seems.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff happening. There was a lot of awakenings, spiritual awakenings and revivals. And through the preaching of Whitfield and Wesley, both Wesley brothers. And a lot of them who received faith when listening to Whitfield and Wesley were these hymn writers.
Brilliant.
So William Hammond last
Yeah.
week. Augustus Toplady was heavily influenced by Whitfield.
Man, that's
Yeah.
interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
Samuel Medley is
Samuel
born
Medley. Yeah, tell us about him.
in Cheshire, Hearts, England.
I don't know anyone from there because last week I knew a
That's where
band.
Blur's from, right?
Yeah,
Cheshire.
no.
Well, I don't even know where that is.
What county? Where did you say?
Hearts.
Is that
Hertfordshire?
Scotland? Oh,
Hertfordshire?
how's it spelled?
Herts. Midlands. Matt Davis, you'd be able to tell us. I don't know.
Hertfordshire isn't in the Midlands, though. Same.
Is it not?
Is that in the Midlands? You don't know.
No idea.
Okay, you're a historian, not a geography student.
Yes.
Comment in. Where is Hearts?
Well, please tell us, yeah.
Is it Scotland though? I feel like there's a football team called
Cheshire. Nah, it doesn't. It sounds English to me.
Carry on.
So, relatively well-off family. Not as well off as William Hammond or Augustus Toplady or Horatius Bonar.
Okay.
So he's got a bit more of a normal name, hasn't he?
Samuel.
Medley.
It's a great name.
And he was educated and trained in classics.
Again, another educated man. This is a
Yeah.
theme, as we said last time, right? This is a
Yes.
because I suppose what we said. You probably had to be
Had
educated.
to be. Yep.
Yeah.
He joined the Navy in 1755. He was not a Christian at the time,
Wow.
but he's from a Christian family.
He was born in Cheshire, but he was made in the Royal Navy. Go on.
Exactly, yeah. So he joined the Navy in 1755. He had a lot of experience on board ships and boats. He fought against the French in the 1750s and 1760s on the sea. He was injured in a battle during one of those Pirates of the Caribbean battles.
Yeah, don't really like them films. Go on.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I forgot you don't like fantasy either.
No.
He was injured at sea, and the surgeon on board said that they were going to have to amputate his leg because the injury was so bad. He started to develop gangrene.
Gangrene. That
Yes.
means it's like rotting.
It's rotting.
Oh my goodness.
Surgeon's like, in the morning, we're cutting it off.
Really?
He's not a Christian at this point. His grandfather has given him a Bible. He takes the Bible out.
No.
Either his grandfather or his dad. He's from a Christian family anyway. And he takes a Bible out, starts reading it, starts praying.
No.
In the morning, gangrene's gone. Surgeon's
Shut
like,
up.
you're completely healed.
This is the best story you've told me.
Someone is like, there must be something true about this Jesus.
Amazing.
So he goes back on, off from campaign. They go back. He's forgotten about the miracle. And he's, he started thinking, right, there must be something in this. So he obviously hasn't, prayed for forgiveness of his sin. But he obviously cries out, Lord, if you're out there,
Yeah.
save me from this
From my situation.
situation, like heal my leg, save me from death, but not from spiritual death.
No, from just the
Yeah.
immediate. Yeah.
So that's what happened. He goes back on shore. His grandfather takes him under his wing while he's resting from, campaign. And he's at London with his grandfather, and his grandfather decides to just tell him the gospel every day.
What? A grandfather?
Yeah.
That's a grandfather we all need.
And one Sunday night, they don't go to church because obviously he's not a Christian. But his grandfather's like, right, I'm just going to read this sermon from Isaac Watts to you.
From Isaac Watts.
Yeah, Isaac Watts. And it's...
Famous for, right, what are his
hymns.
hymns?
Yeah,
what are they
Joy
again?
to the World.
Joy to the World, which we've mentioned.
We've mentioned, and plenty of others. He's got hundreds
okay.
of hymns. But his sermon on Isaiah 42, verse 6 and 7, and it's, I, the Lord, have called you into righteousness. I will take hold of your hand. I will keep you, and I will make you to be a covenant for the people and a light for the Gentiles, to open eyes that are blind, to free captives from prison, and to release them from the dungeon, those who sit in darkness. So he read that to him, and something happened. He's like, oh, I'm in darkness.
Man.
My eyes need to be opened. So he agrees to go and hear none other than George Whitefield preach.
Oh my god, it's just all the heavy hitters of the 1700s.
Whitefield again, and he's saved.
Goodness me.
So he's like, so he actually says when he heard Whitefield preach, he says this, I received the comforts of the gospel by a believing view of the fullness and sufficiency of the atonement of the Lord Jesus for my sin.
Goodness. Alright, that's pretty cool. That's a good testimony on a Sunday night at Gabalva, isn't it? If someone got up and said that, I'd be like, Amen!
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just crazy that, William Hammond was saved under Whitefield.
Yeah.
Samuel Medley was, something was happening with his grandfather.
Yeah.
He was obviously under the conviction of sin. And then he goes to hear Whitefield and it's just solidified, like, Jesus.
Featuring Isaac Watts,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, just featuring Isaac Watts. All the big hitters, like you said, yeah.
Goodness
it's
me.
just, Jesus definitely used these guys massively during this century.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because in my ignorance, I had no idea about that. But these songs, which we have worked on, it's like they would never have happened if it wasn't for Whitefield, for example.
Whitefield
for
preaching.
these people, there's this big web,
Yeah.
which you could eventually link back, of course, to Jesus himself.
Yeah.
Like Whitefield will have a story, and eventually you get back to the
You go back to
apostles
the
and to
apostles,
Jesus,
yeah.
which is so cool.
Yeah. So that's a really cool testimony, isn't it?
That is cool.
So in 1766, he joins the ministry. Like all of these guys, well, they're saved and then they just go straight to the ministry.
Yeah, so like
shipped off to the ministry.
Literally on a Royal Navy boat, probably.
Yeah. So by his pastor, he's ordained. Then he starts ministering in Watford.
Wouldn't wish that on anyone. No, I don't know. What about?
And then he moves 4 years later to Liverpool, and he starts
Really?
being a minister in the church there called, and I think it's still around. It's called Byram Street Chapel, I think.
Okay.
And he it's a Baptist chapel, and he starts preaching there. And obviously the Lord led him there because Liverpool is a shipyard. It's a dock city, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And lots of the guys he was preaching to in his church were seafaring guys.
Mate, have you heard that Samuel Medley who's preaching down the chapel tonight?
Exactly. Yeah.
Go and have a listen.
And obviously from the Navy experience he'd been on sea, so he was able to identify with these guys, and
That's
lots
good.
of guys got saved through his preaching. Like
Amazing.
the church building had to be extended because there was a lot of people being saved through him.
Class,
Jesus
mate.
was using him, and he wrote hymns.
So we're gonna do I Know That My Redeemer Lives. Is that track 1 on his best of?
I don't know if it's track 1 or 2, but track 1 or 2 equally could be Awake My Soul to Joyful Lays. But it's a really cool song because at the end of each verse it finishes with His loving kindness something something. So verse 1 is His loving kindness, oh how free. Verse 2, His loving kindness, oh how great. Verse 3, His loving kindness, oh how strong.
Now this sounds like a modern hymn that we know.
Loving Kindness
Yes.
by
Boswell, Papa.
and none other than
Getty.
nope.
Another Matt. Is it Matt Merker? Matt Redman.
Redburn.
Redman! Well,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, all the Mats. So yeah, I don't know if they knew of this when they wrote Loving Kindness, but this is is a great hymn. We haven't touched this one.
They actually know about hymns, those guys.
Yeah, they know about him.
So I
They
think
definitely know about this
They'd
one.
know.
Yeah.
You know?
But it is a great hymn. It's how many stanzas? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, His loving kindness, sing in death. His loving kindness in the skies.
Nice.
His loving kindness, oh how good. Yeah, so
Yeah. Whereas with the others, I think certainly last week I was talking about how, it's quite just reaching into the depths of the Christian and trying to pull them up. Talking about their guilt and give me Christ or else I die was the last one we did, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
listening to those lyrics, and also I know that my Redeemer lives, it is a lot more like looking at this other side of Jesus, which is his kindness, his power. It's like focusing in on
resurrection, life, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just part and part of the parcel,
Different
isn't
people,
it?
would write different things, I suppose, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and you probably would have written about sin and guilt and shame, and so likewise, Augustus Toplady has hymns which are more uplifting.
Of course.
But this one, and I know that my Redeemer lives, definitely more uplifting. I think so. I know that my Redeemer lives is based off Job. Chapter 19,
25 or something.
I know that my Redeemer lives, and that one day,
in the end, I will see him
with
my own eyes. I am not another. So, right, can I just talk a bit about this song? You sent me these lyrics about 18 months ago. Quite early on, I'd say.
I can't remember.
You did, because of all the lyrics you sent me, I think I thought, these are flipping awesome. These are absolutely brilliant. And I tried for a while to come up with a tune to them. Couldn't.
Yeah.
I sent them to a couple of other church members, actually.
Yeah.
And heard nothing.
Nothing.
But, they are brilliant lyrics. And once I was asked for my favourite Bible verse when I was signing up for something.
Yeah.
This was before this. And I thought, I've never really thought about that. But when it came to it, I picked that Job verse. Yeah. And I still stick with that. I think that is my favourite Bible verse, that when he says, I know that my Redeemer lives, and that in the end, I will see him with my own eyes. Because thinking of Job in his suffering, in his pain, everything he's lost, everything that's been taken away, there is something he clings on to that can't be taken away. Mm-hmm. That is that Jesus lives for him as his Redeemer.
Yeah.
I loved it, yeah.
And that's actually, like, thinking of, like, his church members, Samuel Medley here, a lot of them, these guys are going off to sea. A lot of suffering on the sea. Mm. You're not sure if you're going to come back.
No.
But to sing that, isn't it?
Yeah.
While you're at sea, I know that my Redeemer lives. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what happens to me here. I will see him. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Again, the fear of death looming as a very present fear.
Yeah, exactly.
I do just think it really must be a thing in our generation where we suppress that. Mm-hmm. Because we cover ourselves with all sorts of comforts.
Yeah.
And we've got an NHS, man, that are great. We can think we're invincible.
Yeah.
But of course we aren't. Like, death gets everyone. I think there's a C.S. Lewis quote, isn't there, which is war doesn't change the statistic that 100% of people die.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, the NHS doesn't change that statistic either.
No. But this people might be more familiar with this one.
Oh yeah, go on, mate.
Because it's usually sung to.
This one, I know that my Redeemer lives.
Yeah,
go on.
It's usually sung to a tune that we sing Psalm 103 to. Yeah.
So.
I know that my Redeemer lives. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the tune. Yeah, but that would have been a great one to sing it to. But we obviously already sing the tune, so.
This is, that's right, to Psalm 103. So I came up with this melody. Mm-hmm. So, right, I basically gave up on trying to come up with a tune for this. Right, I was like, nah, it's not happening. Shame.
Yeah.
Leave it. Then one day, walking along, going to get a haircut at Hussein's, best barber in Cardiff, Curr's Cup. I came up with a tune, just in my head, just walking along, singing to myself, and tried counting up the syllables. And I thought, because the meter, we talked about it before, it's like, well, what would this fit? How many syllables per line would this fit? And I got so confused because, like, two notes, what actually was happening was, like, if I sing two notes, sometimes it's actually just for one word. Like, because you're like, duh, la, like, it's no, what I mean? It's one word, but it's two notes, for example. So I asked you, do you have anything that's 10-10-10 or something like that? And you sent me some lyrics, and I'm like, this doesn't fit at all. I didn't understand why. But then when I worked out what I'd done wrong, and I worked out, actually it would fit to this meter. this sort of syllable count per line.
Yeah.
Then you said, well, actually, this one I sent you a while back fits. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. And it also, I think, fits quite well the style of the lyrics, what are sung about. I think it's quite a triumphant. The lyrics are really triumphant. And I think the melody is quite like that too. We haven't ever sung this before, this one, in church. This is one of the newer ones, isn't it?
It's a newbie.
So we've not really managed to sing it. Maybe it'll get an outing at Easter. It would have been good on our Easter EP, but...
This is an Easter one, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Came up with this after the Easter EP happened, so...
Yeah.
Couldn't happen. But, yeah. And I think, really, I kept every lyric. I didn't change anything, you know.
No need to.
No need to. It's really, really great lyrics. What I loved about it is, I mean, I'll just read verse 1. I know that my Redeemer lives. What comfort this sweet sentence gives. He lives, who once was dead. He lives, my ever-living head. He lives, triumphant from the grave. He lives, eternally to save. He lives, all glorious in the sky. He lives, exalted there on high. And I think one thing I think about the songs that we sing is we sing a lot of songs that say, where we will sing the phrase, Jesus is alive, or he is alive, or Christ is risen.
Yeah.
And that's great. And we should sing that. It's very important that we sing that. But this song hones in on, well, what does that mean for me, the believer? You know, what does it mean that Jesus died, but he didn't stay dead? He rose again. And if anything, this could even really be an ascension song. It is about, well, what's he doing right now for me in heaven?
Yeah, it's
What do you
about
think?
his work right now, isn't it? As our priest and our king.
Yeah.
That's actually in the lyrics,
it's
isn't
a
it?
prophet, priest, and king. Yeah.
Yeah, because he still teaches us, doesn't he? He still intercedes for us, and he reigns for us. Prophet, priest, and king, right there.
Exactly. It is really the good news for me and for us of the resurrection and the ascension.
Yeah.
And I think it's just quite overwhelming, the number of things he considers that Jesus does for me right now.
Yeah. It's amazing.
All blessings to impart, you know.
Yeah.
But there's just so many, yeah. And because he's clearly been reading that Job passage, and that is when you're in the absolute gutter and everything's been taken away. No matter what's going on in your life, in your circumstances, and it could be awful. You could lose your spouse, you know, even though Job didn't. But I think she was clearly not, I don't know. It's like the Lord let the wife stay because she didn't help the matter anyway. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah.
But, you know, he loses everything, doesn't he? And he gets physical pain and everything like that, sores and boils and all that. And annoying friends who think, well, you're clearly in sin, and that's why you deserve this, Job, basically. No matter what's going on in your life, you can sing these words. You know, it's like zooming into what Job was thinking.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really, really great words. And it's good to know these guys, isn't it? The guys who wrote these hymns, and to know their experience as well. I didn't know his experience in the Navy or, you know, all of that stuff.
No idea. Yeah.
But it's good to know, like, these guys were real guys, went through real hard situations.
Yeah.
And often have, like, amazing testimonies. And the Lord uses them in amazing ways. And obviously inspires them to write amazing hymns.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
Based on often their experience. And I wonder if he was like thinking about that experience of near-death experience on the ship. And thinking, I wish I'd known this right then, because he probably would have died happily.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah,
But
because he's clearly drawing from all his experience. Like, I don't know any modern songwriter, hymn writer, who has suffered gangrene. It's not really something that happens in the Western world these days, is it? But, like, that is intense suffering, you know? And, yeah, I think it really then does help bring into focus, like, the clarity of songs that are written.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we sing it? Should we go for anything else you want to say?
No, that's everything.
Okay, thanks for listening, everyone, to this podcast. We're going to do I Know That My Redeemer Lives. Hope you enjoy. Let me sort myself out.
You
Here
do
we go.
verse 1? I'll come in verse 2.
Yeah, come in verse 2, mate. I'd love that. I know that my Redeemer lives. What comfort this sweet sentence gives. He lives, who once was dead. He lives, my ever-living head. He lives triumphant from the grave. He lives eternally to save. He lives all glorious in the sky. He lives exalted there on high. He lives exalted there on high. He lives to bless me with his love. He lives to plead for me above. He lives my hungry soul to feed. He lives to help in time of need. He lives to grant me rich supply. He lives to guide me with his eye. He lives to comfort me when faint. He lives to hear my soul's complaints. He lives to hear my soul's complaints. He lives to silence all my fears. He lives to wipe away my tears. He lives to calm my troubled heart. He lives all blessings to impart. He lives my kind, wise, heavenly friend. He lives and loves me to the end. He lives, and while he lives I'll sing. He lives my prophet, priest and king. He lives my prophet, priest and king. He lives and grants me daily breath. He lives and I shall conquer death. He lives my mansion to prepare. He lives to bring me safely there. He lives, all glory to his name. He lives, my Jesus, still the same. Oh, the sweet joy this sentence gives. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know that my Redeemer lives.
Great.
Nice. Thanks for listening to this episode of Hymnology 101. If you've got any questions, you can email me at sam.smith@gabalva.co.uk. And you can follow us, Gabalva BC Music, on Spotify or iTunes. Thanks.